I guess, sort of a folk hero here in Denver. NFL Coach of the Year. He took the Broncos to the '77 Super Bowl, and now is the new head coach of the Gold. He has with him Jeff Napple, former high school star in Colorado, went to the University of Colorado, graduated from Northern Colorado, and as a matter of fact, spent a year with the Broncos before playing Canadian football. He's 6'2", 200, and an outstanding passer. In the running department, a former Golden Buffalo is Bo Matthews. He played for the Buffs from 71 to 73, spent 8 years in the National Football League, and I think his most astounding record is the fact that he averaged nearly 4 yards per carry. And on the defensive side, Big George Atia of LSU, the nose tackle, 255 pounds. One of the very best to play college ball, and certainly one of the outstanding defensive players in the United States Football League. So that's a brief look at some of the players you'll be seeing here today. Now, the weather conditions obviously are very important. More so yesterday, it was our concern over what it was going to be today. We need not have worried because I think the temperature will reach pretty close to 40 degrees this afternoon. However, the condition of the field is important. And so let's get a report on that, as well as the rule changes from our sideline rover, Don Collison. Don?
Very much, Bill. The field was covered for the past 3 days. They took the tarp off just a couple of hours ago. It's in pretty good shape. The coaches from both teams say there are only 5 or 6 slick spots. There are cables underneath the field which heated it, pipes which drained it, so the field, all things considered, is in pretty good shape. Now, throughout the game, I'll be providing updates on injuries. I'll be talking to some of the players as conditions warrant it, and also finding out pertinent information that can help aid the telecast of our inaugural United States Football League game. Right now, let's go back upstairs to Bill Fleming.
All right, thank you very much, Don, and we'll be covering those rules that we'll be seeing in the USFL just a little bit later on, and we'll be back with the coin flip and the opening kickoff in just a moment. Number 80, Howard Ballard, will be the deep man, formerly from Colorado, and booting the ball will be little David Trout, 5'6", from Pittsburgh. So we're ready to get underway here at Mile High Stadium in what we hope to be an historic game in the United States Football League. The Denver Gold in receiving position in their gold pants, their black jerseys, the white numerals against the crimson and old gold of the Philadelphia Stars. And here's the kick, hard to handle. Comes down to Vic James. And he weaves his way to the 27-yard line. And that's where the Denver Gold will take it. Now let's take a look at the Denver backfield. Jeff Napple at quarterback, Harry Sidney at halfback, Bo Matthews, a veteran at fullback, with Lonnell Fee and Vic James as the wide receivers. Up front, Bob Nizolik, Steve Rogers, Glenn Hyde, a lot of experience there, Tom Davis at center, Ron Hausauer, and Harold Norfleet. 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line of the Denver Gold. Out they come with Vic James out wide to the right. Handoff going to Matthews. Matthews puts his head down and gets up to the 30, a little bit over the 30-yard line. Look at that go on the far side of the field. I think Ron Mick, the word of congratulations ought to go to the field crew here that worked all night long to get this field in shape.
Yeah, I watched them yesterday afternoon, and they were just amazing. Very hard workers. I think we're going to see a lot of inside running. The Denver team wants to establish an inside running game, and they have the power to do it in Bo Matthews and also Larry Canada.
All right, you're taking a look there at the Philadelphia Stars. Scott Warner, of course, former great University of Georgia. 2nd down and 8. The ball on the 30-yard line. The Denver Gold in possession. First sequence of the ball game on the fake draw. Here's the pass. It is complete. 1st down. Bob Nizolik, the tight end, giving the first down to the Denver Gold. Napple hitting him perfectly.
Okay, you'll notice in this replay that the Philadelphia team went into a 5-man line to try to put pressure on the passer. They couldn't do it, though. They had good protection, and they hit their end, an end they liked very much.
Well, the ball is on the 42-yard line. First quarter in the opening moment, as Denver has taken the opening kickoff to the 42-yard line. Now with a 1st down. Fake handoff and Napple fires again to Nizolik, and he's got 5 or 6 yards, just short of the 50. Making the stop on the play was Sam Mills, the linebacker. So it brings up a 2nd and 5 situation. Were you surprised with the first down pass?
I was a little bit, except I think what we're going to see is a lot of control ball playing, and part of the control is the short passing game. They like their tight end. They think he's a good receiver, has good hands, and an excellent blocker.
Coming through there very fast on the defense was George Cooper, a former Michigan Stater, number 91. I had the privilege of calling several games of George Cooper's when he was in college, and I'll tell you, he has a great deal of intensity, and I think may be one of the real sleepers in this league defensively, Ron.
Well, in that play, the Philadelphia team was in their 3-4 defense, and they shot one of their linebackers, George Cooper, in order to try to break things up in the middle.
I would say it was rather effective.
That it was.
3rd down, and about big play coming up for the Bulls. That split off just a little bit more, and up comes the defenders. Now they pop back in and out, trying to mix things up as Naples fades to his 35 and throws one. It's intercepted at the 40-yard line, and coming down with the football is Scott Werner, pulling the same old tricks he did when he was a Georgia Bulldog. And so the Philadelphia Stars get the first turnover of the ball game. They have it 1st and 10 on their own 40-yard line. Let's take a look at that again.
Now you're going to see that the quarterback actually got very, very good protection. He had excellent protection, plenty of time, and frankly, it was just a very bad throw.
First down for the Stars. At quarterback is Chuck Cucina, number 14. That's Calvin Bryant, a young man to keep your eyes on, number 44 deep, and he pitches to him. Bryant finds a hole, and he gallops up to about the 44-yard line. Let's check that Philadelphia offense now. Chuck Cucina, former Penn Stater, then Calvin Bryant from North Carolina, Booker Russell, Rodney Parker, and Scott Fitzke. And up front will be Folsom, Brad Oates, Garza, Bart Oates, the younger brother of Brad, will be at center, formerly from BYU, Chuck Comiskey, and the great Irv Eatman, a rookie from UCLA. I think he was one of the real finds of the United States Football League. Irv, of course, started out as a defensive tackle, then in the last 6 games this past year was switched to an offensive tackle by Terry Donahue. And he led them to a Pac-10 championship and a victory in the Rose Bowl. As you can see, there are penalty markers all over the ballpark as Brad Oates jumped a little bit too soon, it looked like, from his tackle spot on the right side, number 70. Incidentally, while we have our attention on the officials, let me mention that the referee is Bill White, the umpire John Bradley, the linesman Richard Lavelle. Curtis Decker will serve as the back judge today. Richard Eichhorst did not make it because of weather, and the field judge is James Anderson.
We got a false start, number 70 on the offense, 2nd down.
So it makes it 2nd down and about 12. Other games going on today, we'll be keeping you posted on. The big game in Los Angeles, of course, between the Express and the New Jersey Generals and Herschel Walker. And, of course, Washington's Federals taking on the Chicago Blitz in Washington. On the 39-yard line, Cucina lobs it complete. Let's take a look at the Denver defense here. There's a 3-man front, White, Attia, and Turner, with Bearfield, Whittington, Choate, and Gherkin. Then the defensive backs will be Lewis, Dumar, Tommy Sullivan, former UCLA star, and Dave Martin. So after that completion to Riley, it is a 3rd down now and about 4 to go for the Stars on their own 47. We have no score in the first quarter. Cucina rifles one down the middle, incomplete. Good defensive play, double teaming the receiver. Sullivan, man I mentioned there, who is a very spirited player from UCLA, breaking it up, number 32.
Now, Denver was in a 4-man defensive line in order to put pressure on the passer, and they also did some blitzing. And somehow they still had some double coverage on the inside.
So it brings up a 4th down situation. John Landetta will do the punting for the Stars. So neither team has been able to do much here offensively, although they each moved the ball. Dave Martin is back on the 10-yard line as the receiver. Oh, there's a beautiful high spiral boomed off the foot of Landetta, and it's taken on a fair catch at about the 8-yard line by the Denver Gold. So Denver will take over deep in its own territory when we come back, and there is no score from Mile High Stadium. A word about this very loyal crowd here in Denver. The Gold sold more season tickets than any of the other 11 teams in the United States Football League. 33,000 season tickets, and I think that's really astounding. They predicted that with the gate sale today that more than 50,000 fans will be here. Now, I'll tell you, the way it looks in the stadium, it is very close to that number. 1st and 10 for the Gold on their own 8-yard line. No score in the first quarter. We've got 10:33 to go in this first period. Pitch to Sidney. Gets his nose over the 10-yard line. Good stop by George Cooper once again, number 91. This telecast is presented by the authority of the United States Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the United States Football League is prohibited. 2nd down, about 8. Hey, one thing, I am impressed, Ron Mix, with the defensive charge of the Philadelphia Stars. This time, however, the ball is overthrown, even though Jeff Napple had plenty of time to throw it. Lionel Fee, former Houston great, was on the receiving end. It was just simply too high for him to reach.
Here we have isolation on the receivers, and they're attempting to drive back the defensive back. And if the ball had been, frankly, I think that ball should have been caught. It was a little high, but it should have been caught.
I think you're right. Now that you look at it again, certainly was on his fingertips. Antonio Gibson, incidentally, was number 23 covering there on Lionel Fee. A 3rd and 9 for the Denver Gold. Cooper pops in and out. He's number 91 there, the linebacker on the left side. There's penetration made, unfortunately for the Stars, by Dave Oakler, former Penn State great, number 94.
Yeah, those defensive linemen, they just want to get in there and start the hitting. They don't want to be bothered with exotic things like rules. That defensive line is getting a good charge. I wonder if they can keep it up. They're a light defensive line. You look at their size, and it's 240, 250, 250. I don't think they're a big physical group. And frankly, I think that the Denver Gold is going to be able to establish a good running game against them.
3rd down.
All right, it's a 3rd down and 4. Well, a long 3, let's put it. And Napple looks the situation over, fakes the short pass. Being chased there by Ofer. He goes deep in his end zone and lets it go to the sidelines, incomplete.
Now, that's really the advantage of having a quarterback who can scramble. He scrambled. He was able to buy himself extra time. You got to look at a lot of receivers. Unfortunately, nothing came of it. But I think that the fact that he is a scrambler is going to help him a lot in this game.
Scott Werner was covering on the play with Mazolik as the receiver. One rule I think I'd like to touch on here while we have a 4th down interchange of players is that the interference rule of the United States Football League is a little bit different than you've been hearing. Now, in college ball, it's possession. In other words, if the defensive interferer causes that problem, then the offensive team gets the ball at the point of the foul. However, in the United States Football League, it's simply a 10-yard penalty. That's for a non-flagrant play. We'll get into that in just a moment.
Now, rumor has it that the Denver punter is a little slow in getting his punch off, and so we might see a block kick sometime during this game.
Oh, he almost called it there. Deutsch gets it away, however. And Werner gets it back to about the 42-yard line in Denver territory. So a 39-yard boot and about a 4-yard return. And now the Philadelphia Stars have better field position when we return. Oh, they're so happy they weren't out here yesterday doing this routine. Today the temperature is just about the 40-degree mark. And in fact, a very good afternoon for football in this inaugural game of the United States Football League here in Denver, Colorado. No score. We're still in the first quarter. Chuck Fusina hands the ball off to Kelvin Bryant. The Denver goal pours in on him, and he gets it just over the 40-yard line into the 39-yard territory. Other scores here, the Express out in front of New Jersey, 3-0, one of our regionally televised games today. Boston over Tampa Bay, 10-7, that's in the third quarter. The Breakers out in front by 3 over the Bandits.
On that last play, the linebacker, Put Choate, did an outstanding job of judging the play, running in and stripping the interference so that the defensive backs could make the tackle.
Folsom swings over to this side. As Fusina lobs it out to Kelvin Bryant. And he gets it to about the 34-yard line before he's brought down by Larry White. Larry, a former Jackson State star. Kelvin Bryant. Oh, I remember the year that he had 15 touchdowns in the first 4 games. He was well on his way to breaking all kinds of records. In one unfortunate play, he had the cartilage torn in his left knee. He underwent arthroscopic surgery, and believe it or not, actually came back on the field 5 weeks later. A remarkable recovery by a very remarkable athlete. 3rd and 2. The ball is on the 35-yard line. The Stars trying to threaten here. Completes the Bryant at the 30, at the 28-yard line, and that will be a first down for Philadelphia. Brought down by Tom Sullivan, number 32.
You know, this was just a very quick pass going into Bryant, who went in and then flared out. They're going to do everything they can to get the ball to Bryant. They'll hand it to him, they'll pass it to him, they'll pitch it to him, they'll throw it to him on a quick flare. He is that offense. Well,
Dick Crum, his coach in college, said he was one of the most versatile athletes he'd ever coached or seen. And so you can expect him to be on the receiving end of many passes. You like that deep pitch, though. It gives him that big swing. Alan Harvin from Cincinnati goes out of bounds inside the 20. And once again, Tom Sullivan comes up to make the stop. Alan Harvin showing great bursting speed.
Harvin was one of their top rookies that they signed. They're very pleased with him, and he's going to see a lot of action and giving Bryant a rest here and there.
Checking in the lineup now for Philadelphia is Tom Donovan as a wide receiver. Going in place of Rodney Presser, former Tennessee State great. Donovan, of course, went to Penn State. First down for the Stars. First real threat of the ball game now. On the 17 or 18-yard line of Denver. No score in the first quarter. We have 7:36 to go, and here's Fusina. A lot of protection. Lobs it too high. In fact, I think a defender may have gotten his hand on the football. Number 58 of the Denver Gold, John Bearfield, Texas A&I, had his hand on it. There's a good shot of Red Miller.
In that situation, they had 2 wide receivers to one side. They tried to flood that area with the tight end then coming across after the wide receivers cleared it out. It almost worked.
And on the other side of the field, Jim Morrow, the coach of the Stars. Defensive coordinator, most recently of the Boston Patriots. You know, he was not hired until January the 19th, and they went to camp on the 29th. He had exactly 10 days to get things squared away. Beautiful hole opens up over the right side, and rambling through it is Booker Russell, former Southwest Texas star. 6'2", 235, and he can move.
You know, the reason this broke is that they brought a defensive back right up to blitz. They brought Tom Sullivan up to blitz, and then so the spot was open, and the back just kept going, and look at all the yards he made.
First and goal to go for the Stars now on the Denver 3-yard line.
Booker Russell, very good power runner. Excellent blocker, too.
He's got Kelvin Bryant next to him in the backfield. There's a pretty tough 1-2 punch. Got Pusey, the quarterback, of Philadelphia. Hand off to Bryant. Bryant is snagged at about the 2-yard line. He might have lost control of the ball there for a second and grabbed it back. We'll see. There was a big roar from the end zone down there where obviously the partisan Denver fans are. Now Bryant got it back, so it's on the 2-yard line. Second and goal to go.
Yep, they brought in their goal line defense. They brought in a couple more monster linemen, and their job is to dig deep, get penetration, and stuff things up so the linebackers and the defensive backs can make the tackle if they can.
Alan Harvin has gone in as the running back for Kelvin Bryant. Booker Russell next to him. Second and goal to go for the Stars. Fake handoff. Yusina's got a man in front of the blocker. He breezes into the end zone for the first touchdown of the ball game. Chuck Yusina with a nifty bit of ball handling on the bootleg. Followed a big lineman right into the end zone.
They get the motion going one way, and then they come back the other way with a guard leading the way. Yusina running. Now, this is one of the best plays that exists in professional football at the goal line, the quarterback to keep the ball. It gives them an extra blocker.
So David Trout will be kicking out of the hold of Tom Donovan. That was Chuck Comiskey, by the way, who led the way on that touchdown sprint. Kick is up, and it is good. And so with 5 minutes and 57 seconds to go in this first quarter, David Trout, who was the kicker, apparently was hurt because he went limping off. They took one quick look at him and sent him back out on the field, so it wasn't anything but just a ding, but he's teeing the ball up now and may move forward with a noticeable limp. We understand that Herschel Walker has just scored a touchdown for the New Jersey Generals. So he has his first professional touchdown, and we'll say more about that in a moment, but right now Philadelphia just scored its first TD. There's the hard-to-handle kick, goes down to Howard Ballard, coming out to the 20. Right up the middle he goes, and he fumbles the ball, but it's covered. Number 53 of Denver, Kelvin Newton, pounced on the loose ball. Boy, what a hit was put on Howard Ballard by number 82 of the Stars. Let's take a look at that touchdown here from a little different angle.
Okay, we see Comiskey leading the way. Oh, and a very happy quarterback scoring. Comiskey did not even have to throw a block. He had so fooled the defense.
First down. Oh, that pass was thrown right into the arms. I mean, right into the arms of Antonio Gibson, and he didn't hang on to the ball. I don't know what happened to Napple there, but watch it again.
Well, let's see. He's not hurried. There's no reason to hurry. Well, I know Gibson is happy about knocking the ball down, but must be very unhappy about not catching it. I think he was looking for the yardage he was going to make and took his eyes off the ball.
Second down. Denver trailing 7-0. We're in the first quarter. 5.5 minutes to go. And off to Harry Sidney. Doesn't get much, as the defensive line has been very impressive, as has the offensive line of Philadelphia. I might add that. And Ron Mix, our cohort here today, was a former All-American and All-Pro lineman as an offensive tackle. So he can appreciate that.
Well, the offensive line of Philadelphia is absolutely their strong point. It's an outstanding group. It is a National Football League quality offensive line.
Oh, got to mention him once again. Brad Oates, Rich Gallagher, Brad Oates, Chuck Comiskey, and Andy. Not bad. Third down. Apple once again from his own 20. Lobs one, but it is too high. Once again, it was intended for Bob Nizolik, the tight end. And the fans are starting to get on Apple a little bit for his inaccuracy here in this first quarter. Shucks, I think anybody would have a few jitters, wouldn't you, on such an auspicious occasion?
Oh, I would think so. And this is the first time Napple has really been given the control of the ball club. The coaches like him, by the way. They think he is going to be a top quarterback. They think he has a good arm, good feel for the game. I think he'll settle down.
Steve Gort is back in punt formation for the Gold. Steve played his college ball at Nevada, Las Vegas. Scott Werner, single safety back. Normally wears number 18, but now up in the printing of the numbers, he had to wear 17 today, and he didn't like it. Backs him up, comes back to the 20, the 25, and down he goes at about the 27-yard line, and that brings the fans uproaring because with that 51-yard punt, it puts the Stars deep in their own territory. 7-0 is the score. 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and we'll be back in a moment. What you're seeing is not double vision. You might have thought you saw that earlier. What happened was that on that punt by Denver, an ineligible man broke before the punt. An interior lineman broke the line before the punt was kicked, so they called it back, made the 5-yard penalty. Denver had to kick again, and Scott Werner then returned it up to the 46-yard line. So it was indeed a gain there of about 17 yards. So Philadelphia now has the ball. There's the quarterback of the Denver Gold, Jeff Napple. Well-known face in the state of Colorado. High schooler, a great player. Played at Colorado, played at Northern Colorado, and with the Broncos. First down for Philadelphia. They lead 7-0, third quarter. Calvin Brown trying to get outside and can't do it. Super defensive play by Dave Martin, number 13, and a loss of about 3. All right, let's go to Frank Gifford in New York.
Thank you, Bill. Herschel Walker has his first professional touchdown. The New Jersey Generals, they're in the white. Walker, 5-yard touchdown run. He's carried the ball 6 times. He has over 30 yards. He's looking awfully good. The conversion was missed. The Generals over the Express, 6-3.
All right, thank you very much, Frank. Historic moment in the life of Herschel Walker. Second down and 12 for the Philadelphia Stars, who are leading in this ball game, 7-0 in the first quarter. Incomplete. Yasina had a screen pass going with Irv Eatman out there going to be one of the lead blockers, number 75, but unfortunately he did not make the connection. Booker Russell, I believe, was going to be the man on the receiving end of it. Ron couldn't tell. So crowded over there with people. Brings up a third down and 13 situation. Here's where the Denver Gold defense now must rise to the occasion, trailing 7-0. What would you guess they'd do?
Well, the defense, I think, is going to undoubtedly send someone in on a blitz.
Lucina can't find anybody, goes up the middle and fires it complete, but it's short of a first down. It's just over the midfield mark, about the 48-yard line. On the receiving end is Tom Donovan, but as you saw, coming up to make a good stop, Putt Choate, former SMU great, number 55.
Now, they did send their right outside linebacker, Greg Gherkin, in on a blitz on that play. They consider him to be one of their very good pass rushers.
Dave Martin, former Villanova star, is back on the 10-yard line. He received this kick. High kick, however, will not be returned. And it takes a crazy left-handed turn, almost 90 degrees, and goes out of bounds.
Well,
at about the 9-yard line.
Yeah, it's a good thing it did, because the field's a little soft, and the ball simply would have died right there, somewhere probably between the 5 and 8-yard line.
Not much up the middle. Larry Canada, first time he's carried the ball here today, former Wisconsin great. They've got two really strong fullbacks in Bo Matthews and Larry Canada, I'd say.
Yes, they're both outstanding inside runners, and they're going to have to, again, get that game established. Who knows? Maybe they better try to establish a long pass in order to loosen things up on the inside.
They're taping David Trout's ankle on the sideline. I mentioned he may have been injured a little bit earlier. In the meantime, carrying the ball is Terry Miller, former Oklahoma State Cowboy. Terry, came to Denver by that acquisition of Herschel Walker. And the New Jersey Generals said, well, looks like we've got the man to do our running. Terry Miller was wavered and was picked up by Denver, and that was his first carry here today.
Yeah, when Terry Miller goes into the ball game, he's considered a specialty player. We can always look for him going wide or perhaps being in on a pass reception. He's in there now, and I would look for him on a pass reception.
Denver trailing 7-0 in the first quarter. We have a minute and a half to go in this first quarter. Weaving his way up the field is Larry Canada, and he's got his first down at the 27-yard line. Let's listen to these fans.
Now here we're going to have Larry Canada simply working himself out to the flat. Good thing he can avoid that tackle. It would have been for a loss. The fans love this team already. It's like they've been here for 10 years.
First down. Denver's trailing here as we are into the last minute of the first quarter. 7-0. Not much there. Terry got about 3. Terry Miller about 3 on the play. Short 3.
It was very congested up the middle. We had the fullback leading the play through the middle for Terry Miller, and it just got too crowded and congested.
That time, but now he has his chance, and his team is out in front. Canada is belted at about the 27-yard line, and that will be about a 3-yard loss. Good defensive reaction. And that is the end. It'll be third down now for the Denver Gold. They're trailing 7-0 here in this beginning of the second quarter. Terry Miller in the backfield along with Larry Canada. The quarterback is Jeff Napple. College is spit out just at the bottom of your picture. Napple, who has not been too successful with the pass, is getting some heat. Has a complete to Larry Canada. Gets about 5 on the play. Up to about the 33-yard line. Sam Wills, number 54. Like comment here on the first quarter statistics, Ron Mick.
Well, it looks like Philadelphia has been controlling the game. I say that even though when you look at the statistics, they're basically even, but for some reason Philadelphia has been more successful in accumulating first downs than Denver.
Well, it's a fourth down situation as Steve Gortz is back to do the kicking. Scott Werner, single safety, is back for the start. Spiral kick. Drives Werner back. Fair catch called for. There was nobody near him, but he couldn't tell. He had to look up so high. A penalty marker, however, is down back here at the 35-yard line, and I am wondering if maybe somebody from Philadelphia didn't have an unnecessary roughness or roughing the kicker. We'll have to wait and see on that. But as you can see, Bill White, the referee, has called for a play to come back downfield. Well, again, there is the ineligible man breaking too soon. Ron, you want to explain that?
Well, basically, your fourth down is just like any other down. You can have only certain people go downfield to be potential pass receivers. Everyone they are potential pass receivers, the ones on the end. So your inside people are considered linemen, and they cannot leave until after the ball has been punted.
Number 65 on the offense, illegally downfield, fourth down re-kick.
We're going to look at it again. Let's see if we can see who left a little early. A lot of them left too early.
65, Hyde was the guilty man, apparently.
And he's the most experienced on that offensive line. He's a 10-year veteran and an outstanding player.
Good break for the Stars, as that punt really drove Werner back. Again, a fair catch called for, and he catches it in traffic very well, I might add, with all the distractions. And at the 37, the Stars will have a first down. Now let's check in with Don Tollefson.
Bill, as the Stars take over here and the second quarter begins, a couple of rule changes in the USFL to talk about. You can make a 2-point conversion. You can use a 1-inch tee to kick your placement. And also in the last 2 minutes of each half, when there's a first down, the chains are moved and time stops so you can play better catch-up football. Back upstairs to Bill and Ron.
Okay, thank you, Don. We also might mention that we will have no tie games. We have a tiebreaker, sudden death, in overtime, should the games be tied at the end of regulation play. First down for the Stars. Fusino walks one downfield. It is incomplete. Ooh, it looked like maybe Dave Martin had snagged the feet of Willie Collier, who was racing down the sideline, but it was not called.
Yeah, I think he did. Let's take another look at it. I think it was pass interference, but that was just a brief look. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Nice tackle. Unintentional, though. It only would have been worth 10 yards. So we get to take another look at it, and maybe we'll see for certain. Now, it absolutely was interference. There's no question.
Now,
that may have been a touchdown.
What I wanted to see was where the ball was when that happened. If it had been beyond the receiver, it would not have counted, but it was not. But it was not called. Kelvin Bryant, bear hugged at the 37-yard line by Short, Laval Short, another ex-Colorado star. I'd say the gain was less than a yard. I cannot get over the fact that this crowd turned out here today. We were a little bit concerned about saying that we would have 50,000 people here today because of the weather and all the snow in the stands and everything. Well, they're here, and with 33,000 season ticket holders and many, many more seats sold this week, I guess we have close to 50,000. Here's Fusino, wobbling pass, but it's caught at the midfield stripe and out of bounds.
Now on that, I don't think it was a scramble. I think Fusino was consciously rolling to his left.
That was Scott Fitzke, by the way, a former teammate of his at Penn State.
Yeah, there's no question. We had the line moving out to the left to give him protection. This could be called a moving pocket.
First down on a 13-yard gain. Philadelphia Stars are leading in this ball game. Fusina scoring the touchdown on a run from 3 yards out on a bootleg in the first quarter. First and 10 at the 50. Fusina fires it out here into the flat. Booker Russell got about 9 yards on the play. One thing the Stars do well, and we saw it in the touchdown drive, and that is they do mix things up well and keep that defense at bay.
Yeah, I like the way that they're mixing things up now. They're throwing little short passes to their back. They're running to the left. They're running to their right. They're throwing on first down, and that surprises me. I don't think right now that we can put an exact handle on what this team is going to do and predict what they're going to do. They're excellent.
Fusina is now 6 out of 10 for 49 yards. Folsom to the right side. Second down and 1. All the Stars wanted to do was pick up the first down, with Booker Russell doing that very nicely at the 39-yard line.
That was a little conservative, though, don't you think? Second and 1. What a great situation. What a great opportunity to try something of a gadget play or a long pass.
How many times have you seen that happen in football, both college and professional, where you have a second down or a third down even in short yardage and they go for the big one? Red Miller, his team a little bit in trouble here, 7-0, and he is concerned. He has seen Philadelphia move the ball well, and they have the ball inside the 40. And with the reverse going deep to Kelvin Bryant, he swings outside, has a bank of blockers, takes the cut and goes down to the 34-yard line. It looked for a moment as if it might have gone farther than that because the blockers were lined up in a wall over there. Dave Martin finally making the start.
Okay, we get to see it. They start off naturally one way, and they reverse it back to him. Now, good thing he's an athlete because he didn't fool everybody. That's the problem with the gadget plays. When they're caught for a loss, it could be a big loss. And also, you have more than one handling of the ball, and that create the possibility of a fumble. But when they break big.
Second down by Philadelphia at the 34-yard line of Denver. Alan Harvin races out of bounds with a first down to his credit at about the 27-yard line. I like his quickness.
Yeah, extremely quick. And the team, Philadelphia team did something very clever. They had their motion going to the right, and that probably changed the defensive alignment of the Denver team. Then they came back to the left with a very fast Harmon.
Alan Harvin played his college ball at the University of Cincinnati. He's a rookie this year. And blasting ahead is Booker Russell once again, the former Southwest Texas star, who gets about 4 yards to about the 25-yard line. Philadelphia scored in the first quarter. Denver has not threatened. That's a very impressive professional record by Booker Russell.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Ball at the 25.
So with a second down and about 8 yards to go on the 25-yard line, the Philadelphia Stars trying to threaten here again. Little mix-up in the backfield. Alan Harvin didn't quite get his hand on the ball and barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
Alan Harvin making the tackle for Denver, John Fairfield.
Well, isn't it interesting, though? A team put together just 4 weeks ago, playing almost flawless football. I mean, that is really the first missed play that we have seen, and that wasn't disastrous at all.
I think that's a good point. You know, the National Football League, they have exhibition games. They're regular games. I mean, they're just exactly, you know, with officials and everything else. All they've had here in the United States Football League is what they call controlled scrimmages.
Yeah, not under game conditions.
Third down. About 7. Here's Yusina. Throws it short. Oh, that's going to be close to a first down. On the receiving end was Alan Harvin. And I'm sure it'll be close enough for a minute. Let's pause 5 seconds while they measure for station identification.
KBTV Denver, a station of the Gannett Broadcasting Group.
Well, it's fourth down and about a foot to go. I guess they decide not to measure as Philadelphia takes time out to talk things over. Fusina will trot over to the sidelines to talk to Jim Mora. And we have 7 minutes, 45 seconds to go in a rather fast-moving second quarter from Mile High Stadium in Denver. Back in a moment. I just happened to see a score come up there just before we got back. It looks like Chicago is leading Washington 14-0. In one of our other regional games today, of course, George Allen, the coach of the Chicago Blitz, returning to the scene of many of his triumphs, RFK Stadium there in Washington. Maybe the Federals have a pretty nifty player in Craig James from SMU. There it is in the second quarter, the Blitz leading. Now here's the try for a field goal by David Trout. You've seen it. Jim Kahn is holding. The block. It is blocked by number 58, John Bearfield. Listen to this crowd. They're absolutely going bananas.
They love their team. This is just amazing. I'll tell you, it's great when that crowd's with you. John Bearfield is the defensive leader of the Denver team. He's a 4-year veteran. He's a very intelligent guy. I had a chance to speak with him. He told me that what you need for consistent success is consistency and concentration.
And there he is on the bench. The hero of the moment. Time out. He'll be back. Back at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Those of you who like to compare statistics, Jeff Napple is 5 out of 10 for 29 yards and 1 interception. Jeff Fusina 7 of 11 for 54 yards. First down for the Denver Gold on their own 25-yard line. Trailing here with 7:36 to go in the second quarter. Napple has plenty of time and overthrows his man. You know, I don't know what it is, but he is not putting the zip on the ball. That thing was a floater and could have been a disaster.
No, and the play design started out beautifully. He had play action. Of course, that's normally a running down. He had play action, which held the linemen, held the linebackers in, and he had the receivers open. He just does not have a good touch today.
Second and 10. There wasn't much question about that. Harold Norfleet broke from Denver. Let's get a report now from Don Thomas.
Bill, one of the interesting things down on the sidelines is that Red Miller and his staff have been screaming at the officials, play and play again. Whenever Philadelphia has the ball, the Denver coaches feel they're making an illegal shift, and the officials have not called it. Red Miller's been ripping his headset off, trying to get them to call it. As you know, these players have never played a game together. These officials have never worked a game together either. They're collegiate officials who have worked in a lot of different conferences, so this is a new experience for them working together in the USFL. Back upstairs.
That's interesting. I don't quite know what he means, Ron, by an illegal shift. The Stars have been running motion.
I haven't been able to spot it.
Second down after that penalty, 15 to go. Up there, inside, it's pretty tough running against Philadelphia. Terry Miller only got about 3 yards.
I'll tell you, I'm very surprised at how aggressive the Philadelphia team is playing. I think what they're doing is they're getting a lot of good action on their linebackers and a lot of good stunts because the Philadelphia line really does not match up man-to-man against the Denver line. The Denver has a good line and a big line. The Philadelphia line is a much smaller line.
And we're watching that other score come in. We saw, of course, that the Generals are out in front of the Express by 3. Third down. What about 12? 1 for 5 on the third down conversion so far. Napple is drove at the 12-yard line. And once again, that very aggressive defensive line led by George Cooper, number 91, and number 54 there, Sam Mills, makes it a fourth down situation for the Denver Gold.
Yeah, they send in 2 blitzers and very successfully. Here you see him coming up the middle, and they got him, number 54.
And Mills and Cooper, I'll tell you, that's a pretty good combination.
Excellent. They're not big linebackers either. Of course, a lot of the linebackers now in the three-fourth defense, they're not big, but they are fast and they have good movement.
Steve Barsh is back in his end zone. He's averaged 39 yards per kick. This is his 4th punt. And he gets his spinner off to the left side. It goes out of bounds short at about the 45-yard line. So the Stars will take over the football there with very good field position. We're in the second quarter with 6:15 to go. Philadelphia is out in front as the sun comes out at Mile High Stadium.
Sidelines with the gold. Jeff Napple limped off the field. One of his own players stepped on his calf. They have taped the calf heavily. I talked to Jeff just a moment ago. He says it's painful, slows him down a bit, but he says he'll be back in and try to be more effective the next time Denver has the ball. Back upstairs.
Philadelphia with the ball now on the 45-yard line of the Gold. Philadelphia out in front. Now there's that scramble. Now that may be what Red Miller is talking about. We see nothing illegal there. Now they send a man in motion, which of course is perfectly legal. Now something isn't legal.
Maybe they listen to Red Miller.
Let's hear what Bill White has to say on that one. It's just a procedure call. Well, be sure to be with us next week for the United States Football League. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Mountain Time, so check your local listings. We'll be making a decision on the game or games to be covered next week. Third Philadelphia penalty for 15 yards. A procedure was all we got from that, and that may very well have been the illegal shift that Red Miller was complaining about, but we'll check with Don Thompson on the sideline so we can prove that actually. In the meantime, it's first 15. The Stars out in front. We have 6:14 to go in the first half. First quarter touchdown by Scott Mussina. He's going to only scoring so far. And here's Fusina. Back to pass. Over the middle, incomplete. Running parallel to the line there was number 89, Steve Folsom.
The whole thing you do when you have a lot of motion is try to create man-to-man matchups. And that was, I think, the essence of what Philadelphia was trying to do then. They had started the motion one way, the quarterback went the other way, and they ended up with a man-to-man on their wide receiver, but they simply could not get the ball to him.
Second and 15. Just look at that crowd here at Mile High Stadium. They're not enjoying the results, but they certainly are enthusiastic with their support of the game. Denver trailing 7-0, with a second and 15 at midfield. Here's Scott Fusina, plenty of time. Over the middle, has his man. Fitzke got the ball to about the 30-yard line.
Let's see, we're going to get a look at the pass protection. It's good. It's excellent. Again, that line doing very well. Scott Fitzke came in and just hooked, and then he was able to swing around. Now, Scott was one of the first National Football League defectors and a very good end. Here we get to watch both ends work right now. So let's keep our eye on Scott. Makes the man miss, and he's gone.
First down. And this one is complete out to Steve Folsom, a former Utah star, at the 20-yard line. He is out of bounds. And Fusina is picking that Denver goal defense apart.
Yeah, he is. In that case, they flooded the one area, and then Folsom just had a delayed release, and he caught a pass underneath the zone defense.
First down on the 20. That's the 7th first down by the Stars. We have 5 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the first half. Denver trails 7-0, and Philadelphia is only 20 yards away from another score. You see it. Well, I tell you, just credit that play to the defense. Number 68 coming in there very fast to mess things up was Andy Paremba.
I think the Denver team has decided if they're going to stop things, they're going to have to stop them before they get started. That means blitzing and dogging on not only running situations, not only passing situations, but running situations to jam things up the line.
Second down, ball on the 20. Kelvin Bryant now sucked in. Little turnaround there by the man in motion. Kelvin Bryant is smashed at about the 16-yard line, and he fumbled the ball. However, there has been no official signal by the referee as to who will get it.
Well, if they take a majority vote, they'll give it to Denver.
They do. Tom Sullivan, a rookie out of UCLA, comes up with the football. Number 68, that was Andy Paremba. We just mentioned him a moment ago. So a timeout on the field. Denver will have it when we come back. Number 32, a very handsome young man from UCLA, a rookie this year, came to the ball club late and has distinguished himself today. He is Tom Sullivan. Just recovered that fumble and has given the Denver Gold new life. Boy, it was a very important play because Philadelphia was down there threatening with a 7-point lead already to their credit. Apple slips the ball off. Harry Sidney grinds it up to about the 22-yard line. Again, maybe up to the 23. Got about 5. Let's go down to Don Tollefson and get an explanation on that shift. Don?
Bill, I talked to Curtis Decker, who's one of the officials here today, about what exactly the Denver complaint is. He says their coaches have complained to him that what the Stars do is shift into some kind of an illegal formation on certain plays. The officials say they haven't seen the illegality, so far they haven't called it. Back to Bill.
Well, there was that one procedure call, so apparently that was not what was the matter at hand. Snapper throws it right through the fingertips of the intended receiver.
couldn't tell whether that was the throw was a little off or he should have had it. I frankly didn't get a chance to get a clear view of it.
Looked like it might have been a little bit off behind him to Nozolik, the tight end. Well, it's a big play coming up for Denver. Jim Morrow checks his chart over there, the head coach of the Stars on defense. 3rd and 5. Denver trails. We have 4:18 to go in the first half. Looks like he's checking off at the line. It's a long count. Spirals it complete. First down. Lionel Fee gets the first down for the goal at the 37-yard line.
Okay, this was good because the Philadelphia team were in their nickel defense. They had 5 defensive backs, and they had an isolation on just the one end. And he was able to run out, drive him deep, and cut back and come back and get the ball. That was one of the things Freddie Biletnikoff of the Oakland Raiders was just outstanding at.
Lionel Fee played for Bill Yeoman at Houston. First down for the goal at the 37. Double handoff in the backfield. Harry Sidney giving it off to Ballage. And what a defensive play made by number 91, George Cooper. Cooper has played an outstanding game so far today. Former Michigan Stater. Signed as a free agent with the Steelers in '82. And he was acquired along with Brad Oates, Dan Kendra, Al Kimachek.
Now that's too bad. That's one of their very good offensive linemen is Tom Davis, and Tom really should have made that block. Had he made it, that would have been a very big gainer. He doesn't miss them often. It's too bad he chose this way to do it.
Second down. Off to Terry Miller. The penalty marker is thrown at the 40-yard line, and we may have a call here of holding. Dave Ofer making the stop. I thought what might have happened, Ron, and I don't like to second guess it, but it looked like Fee had gone down the sideline. It may have been held up there. And although he was not the receiver on the play, Terry Miller got the ball, he may have been held by a defensive back. So I think if you had to speculate, I have to think that the penalty is against Philadelphia. Am I right or wrong here?
Let's see. Yep, you're absolutely right. I don't blame him for holding up Fee. He is their best receiver. He is a real flyer. He is an outstanding player.
Number 48 there is who started out today as the line judge, Curtis Decker, but when the back judge, Richard Highhorse, couldn't get in because of weather, he's had to take over as the back judge.
Illegal contact on the defense, automatic first down.
Let's take a look at how things are going around the league here today. Los Angeles has gone back up on top of the New Jersey Generals, 13-9 in the second quarter. And Tampa Bay's Bandits are ahead of Boston now, 21-17. Terry Miller does a nifty bit of footwork. It looked like he might have been stopped for about a 2-yard loss, turned it into a 3-yard gain, and George Cooper made the stop once again. I tell you, Terry Miller was one of the most exciting players I think we ever saw in college ball. He had trouble with his calves, if you remember, and he used to get hamstring muscles, and although it didn't seem to be very masculine, he actually wore pantyhose. Do you remember that at the time? Got a lot of publicity out of it because he said it helped his muscles.
I'm sure he does not appreciate your telling this town that. This town, it was a secret.
Second down and 8. The ball on the 44-yard line. Denver's trailing here, and time running out in the second quarter. 3.5 minutes to go in Napa. A long one downfield. It is intercepted. It was bobbled for a moment by number 24, Roger Jackson, the former Penn State star. But he held on to it, I think, possibly with some help from the receiver. So Roger Jackson comes up with his first big play as a professional.
Okay, we see our receivers going downfield, and they never really get clear. There's a pretty good zone, and the zone is providing deep coverage and providing short coverage. And it's a long throw. It was in the air for 45 yards, but perhaps he should have pulled the string a little bit on it.
That was Lonnell Fee, and I think I was right. I think he did get credit for helping Roger Jackson hold on to the ball. It looked like it might have popped out, and Fee's arm held it in there for him. You've seen it flips the ball off to Kelvin Bryant. Out of bounds he goes at the 20-yard line. So we have 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this first half. Philadelphia is out in front by virtue of a first quarter touchdown run by Chuck Fusina on a bootleg run of 3 yards. There's been no scoring since that time. Philadelphia really has been the more aggressive team offensively today, but Denver's held them off after that first score. The problem, of course, Denver's had is that they've had 2 interceptions thrown by Jeff Knappel.
We're seeing a much more aggressive Denver defense, too. They are doing the blitzing and the dogging that I spoke about. They're shutting things down pretty good.
Second down, about 4. Fusina turns and throws. It is caught near the sidelines, and out of bounds goes the receiver. Looked like it was Tom Donovan, number 87. That's who it was. Well, a lot of Penn State here, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tom Donovan is one of the receivers that brings in the play. So I think he went in there this time and brought in his own play, which is a good thing if you can do it.
Even if the coach tells you not to, huh?
Even so. The coach won't complain about that one, of course.
So it's a first down for Philadelphia. 2:07 to go in the first half. Beautiful day now in Denver. You can't believe what it was like 24 hours ago. Snow coming down with thick, wet stuff, 16 inches of it. Kelvin Bryant is very angry with himself that he didn't hang on to the football. Number 58 there, of course, John Fairfield, there to hamper him.
You know, I think that was a play by design. I think that it was designed to let the pass rush come in and let Kelvin just sneak in over the center and underneath.
We're talking about the Penn State players, I guess so. Fusina, Jackson, Fitzke, Case, Donovan, and Ofer. And don't forget Roger Jackson.
It's almost as good as having a team full of University of Southern California players.
He does everything. Second down. Oh, what a nice reaction and a great recovery by Scott Fitzke. He saw the ball was going to be just off to his right. He had made his turn to the left, and with his fine reaction gives him a first down on a 15-yard gain. Dave Duke
we get to look at it again. Look on the left side of your screen, number 81. What a fantastic play that was. Very alert player.
So the Penn State connection strikes again. Time is out on the field. Philadelphia will have it when we come back. Red Miller was not tearing his hair there, but he certainly is upset with the fact that his team is trailing 7-0. I'll tell you one thing, his team is facing a darn good football team. Philadelphia, I think, has caused a lot of people to be surprised. I know just up and down Press Row here, people are saying, Philadelphia is pretty tough. And Fusina has the coolness of a veteran performer.
Yeah, he does. But that Philadelphia team did one of the finest jobs of signing their top draft choices of any team in this league. And so it really shouldn't surprise us too much.
First down for the Stars on their own 45. 1:54 to go in the first half. Fusina getting a little bit of a rush and gets it off to Kelvin Bryant behind the screen. Oh, that took some courage to cut right across in front of all of those defenders, and he darn near got away with it. 8-yard gain on the play.
Yeah, that'd be considered one of the slow screens, and that's where the offensive line gets out there first, sets up the screen, and then the back gets out there.
And he cut away from the convoy.
That he did, but I don't know if he could have gone to play Dallas. The Star team is reacting good. They're a good and strong defensive team. I think that may be their strong point.
Second down and 2. Kusina. Again goes to the sideline. Two men double-teaming the receiver.
I think he tried to force that throw too much. He really should not have. There really were three people around him.
Right.
Let's take a look at it. Again, we're getting a blitz, a linebacker blitz. He still has pretty good protection. Almost got hammered. He was really fortunate that we didn't have an interception.
Total yards today, Philadelphia 166 to 66 for Denver. And Kusina is 12 out of 20. Third down, 2 to go. 59 seconds to go in the first half. The Philadelphia Stars out in front by 7. Calvin Bryant takes the first down at the 42-yard line. He's snagged there by John Bearfield, number 58, outside linebacker. You know, every time Bryant gets tackled, I remember that when he was hurt in college at left knee, that he certainly has rehabilitated it well and doesn't have any effects whatsoever of that injury. Time on the field, we'll be out in a moment. Well, you could judge by the height of the man over there how much snow was on this field that had to be removed. It all occurred yesterday. We had about 16 inches in this particular section of Denver. Some had as much as 24 and some had as little as 12. But the crowd turned out today like you just absolutely couldn't believe. That shows you what loyalty and a little sunshine will do. Seconds to go. In the first half, Philadelphia out in front by virtue of a first quarter touchdown by quarterback Scott Kusina, number 14. And he runs out of bounds. One thing I think that might be mentioned here, Ron Mix, is the fact that the Denver Gold enthusiasm hasn't waned any, even though they've been frustrated. You know, they're out there talking to each other and firing each other up. That may have dividends later.
Yeah, I think you don't see enthusiasm wane among young teams. Because both of these teams are relatively young. The Denver team has about 2.5 years experience. The Philadelphia team about 2 years experience.
This current drive has gone 43 yards and still is in effect with 43 seconds to go. Kusina once again looks downfield, throws it complete. They say no, it was trapped. Tom Donovan was the receiver. Well, he sure fooled me.
He's not complaining too much, so I think he thought he trapped it too, although he complained a little bit at the beginning. It wasn't that enthusiastic.
I think his arm was hit too when he threw it. Yep. Oh, there's the bounce, sure.
Let's see if Tom's an honest man. Did he really complain and say he caught that?
37 seconds to go in the first half. Third down. Chuck Kusina, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Stars, who are out in front by the score of 7-0. One thing Kusina's had, and that is time to throw, but Donovan can't hang on to this one. And it brings up a fourth down.
I'll tell you, I think one thing that Kusina's overlooking is in that last situation, the defense was in bump and run on both the wide receivers. And it gave them a good chance to get one-on-one pass coverage and do something with it. That's what you strive for. But he totally ignored his wide receiver.
Jim Cron, former Arizona star, number 11, has gone in the lineup. He'll do the holding here. David Trout will try a 57-yarder. Ball is bobbled, whether intentionally or not, but here comes Cron to the sidelines, and Denver will get its hands on the football at the 37-yard line, and we still have 21 seconds to go. And we might see Ken Johnson come out here, who is the backup quarterback of the Gold.
You're right.
He did fumble. It wasn't a planned play.
No, those quarterbacks, the reason they put them there is because they're supposed to have sure hands.
Well, Napple's still there. With 21 seconds to go in the first half, and Denver trailing by 7. They have the ball 65 yards away from the Philadelphia goal line. Napple throws it short. Well, will they call that a completion and a fumble or not? Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, I didn't think he had possession of it.
Gee, I thought he did, Ron. It looked like he grabbed it and then was hit and fumbled the ball.
I'll bet we're going to see it again.
Likelihood.
Watch how cool Kenny Johnson is. Look, the rush comes in around him. He pumps. He just waits and waits. Flips it. You're right, Bill.
That was Harry Sidney.
First down, 2 minutes to go, ball at the 30. And the replay on quarterback.
Well, that thwarts any opportunity that Denver had here. Again, though, I don't know what it is about Napple's throwing. He just doesn't seem to, I don't know if it's confidence is the word or what, but he doesn't seem to have the snap on the ball. He's floating. That could be a disaster. Of course, somebody gets in the way of it that has a white shirt. Penalty marker down as Fusina heads for the sideline. Marker was thrown on the other side of the field by the linesman.
Fusina run out of bounds.
Well, somebody up front did something he shouldn't have.
I know Jim Mora does not like to see Fusina run. I mean, he has great confidence that Fusina is having the ability to analyze the defense and spot the open receivers, throw into the seam. And it's good to have a quarterback to run when they get in trouble, but the coaches never like to see it.
Jim Mora played at Occidental in California, then became the head coach at his alma mater. Offside Denver, called by linesman Richard Lavelle. Well, we only have 6 seconds to go in the first half. We'll have our USFL report at halftime. Interesting conversations with Jim Mora, the head coach of Philadelphia, and bring you up to date on what's happening around the league, as well as some interesting tidbits. Next week, by the way, on Sunday, the Stars will have their home opener against the New Jersey Generals. That'll be at 1:30 at Veterans Stadium. And Denver will host Boston next Sunday here in Mile High Stadium. That game is slated to be a 1 o'clock start. Just look at this crowd here, sitting in the brilliant sunshine. And yesterday, you just couldn't believe. We could hardly see the field yesterday. It was snowing so hard from the press box.
The kicking team, yes, it is still in there, but this is going to be approximately,
I'm going to say 50 anyway.
50 yards. This may be time for a gadget play, a fake kick. I think it's really beyond his range.
I've often heard place kickers say the one thing they hate is having any kind of wetness on the field at all. They've really got to plant that other leg in order to get the momentum. And this field, although covered with the tarpaulin, does have some wet spots on it. 50-yard attempt out of the hold of Cron. Only 6 seconds to go here in the first half. He's got the distance. And it is good.
I forgot this is Denver. Everything's lighter. Everything flies further.
A 50-yard field goal by David Trout as the gun goes off to end the first half. And they crowd around the little guy and pick him up and hug him. He's only 5'6", but what a leg he's got.
I think my words were, this is really beyond his range. There, I just ate the word.
And it gives Philadelphia a 10-point lead here at halftime over the Denver Gold.
These kickers usually get pretty happy. Let's see. Well, not too demonstrative.
Well, we'll be ready for halftime after a commercial message and a word from our local sponsors. Philadelphia 10, Denver nothing.
We're at halftime of our first ever United States Football League game. The Philadelphia Stars 10, the Denver Gold nothing. Not too much excitement so far for the Denver Gold fans. In fact, the biggest cheer has been for a halftime promotion where they are giving away 9 ounces of pure gold. All during our United States Football League season, we'll be having USFL halftime reports. And in today's report, the USFL halftime report will feature Ron Mix. Ron Mix yesterday, prior to the game today, had an opportunity to talk with the head man of the Denver Gold, veteran coach Mr. Red Miller.
The USFL report is brought to you by MAI Basic 4 Computers. We are the solution.
Former Bronco coach Red Miller has been a fixture on the Denver professional football scene for the past 6 years and knows what it will take for the new league to succeed.
For this league to survive, Ron, I think 2 main things have to happen. Number one, we have to have a good commodity on the field every Sunday. A good, hard-hitting, aggressive type of football that is very competitive. Now, to make it competitive, what do we have to have? Parity within the league and people not... some people are going overboard with stars in their eyes, signing the top players. We do not have a top-rated player on our team, and I don't know how that's going to hold up parity-wise. But those are the things that I'm looking at to survive.
Which brings us to the question, Philadelphia, your opponent, signed 5 of their very top draft choices. Some are potential superstars in any league. Denver did not sign any. Why not?
I think you would have to go directly to our owner, Ron Blanding, for that answer, because that's his policy, and we set out to stay. You know, we had a type of an agreement, a gentleman's agreement, if you will, at the start that we were not going to exceed $1.3 million for the total salaries paid, our whole squad. That is gone completely. And, however, we have stayed close to that figure. Now, that's Ron's privilege, and he can tell me what we're going to do because he is the owner. I don't have to agree with it, which I don't, but we will live within the framework that he sets down and do it the way he wants to because he is the owner.
Let's find out what's going on around the league and join Frank Gifford.
But you got that snow up in the Rockies, and I'll be sliding down those hills. Right now, let's go back and pick up some action that's taking place around the league. First of all, George Allen returned to RFK Stadium in Washington, a much heralded return. He hadn't coached the game there since 1977, and things are going well. They lead 21-0. The this is the Los Angeles action, and that was Tony Bodie scoring on a pass. Now, here we have Greg Landry, the quarterback, the veteran quarterback of 11 years, former Detroit Lion, former Baltimore Colt. He goes out to Trumaine Johnson, and Trumaine Johnson works his way behind the screen, down the sideline, fumbles the ball to Wayman Bryant. Bugs, brother, is there to make the recovery. George Allen football, opportunistic football. And so, the Blitz had a 7-0 lead. Greg Landry at the 5-yard line. Watch Kevin Long, the former Jet. The hole designed on the inside. He sees nothing there, breaks it to the outside, gets into the end zone. 14-0. It's going George Allen's way. The veteran Greg Landry shows style and form once again. Waiting to the last possible moment, he unleashes this pass into the end zone, and a tremendous catch by Trumaine Johnson to make it 21-0. Chicago over the Blitz. Meanwhile, out in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, Herschel Walker made his debut as a professional. Let's take a look at his first play from scrimmage. Not the big, long gainer we're accustomed to, seeing in highlights, but an important first down as Herschel Walker kept the drive alive. Then from the 5-yard line, 4th carry for Herschel Walker. Into the end zone goes Herschel Walker. Coming on for the conversion, Dave Jacobs. Watch this. Mike Freedy, the holder. And Jacobs thinks it'll be blocked. He left Freedy holding the ball, and Freedy got wiped out, missed the conversion. That made it 6-3 at that moment. And then Tom Ramsey came into the game. Replaces Mike Ray, fires this touchdown pass to Tony Bodie. That made it 13-9 for the LA Express over the New Jersey General. That's the action as it's taking place around at the moment. And right now we're going to go back out to Mile High Stadium in Denver. Bill Fleming is there. Take it away, Bill.
All right, here's Alan Harbin, the speedster out of the University of Cincinnati, a rookie who is getting ready to receive the ball. We were talking about Ken Johnson. Of course, Denver will be booting the ball off since the Gold won the opening toss and elected to receive the football initially. They'll have to give it up to begin this second half. I'm kind of interested in Brad Oates. It was kind of sloughed off there quickly that Brad Oates was hurt. He's the offensive left tackle of the Philadelphia Stars. I'd like to explore that a little more. And I'm sitting next to one of the greatest tackles of all time, Ron Nix.
Bill, do you mean that Brad is out of the game now?
That's what Jim Morris said.
Well, that's a big loss for them. He's 6'6", 275. He's an outstanding pass protector. He's an experienced 7-year veteran from the National Football League, and he is really one of the mainstays of their line.
Here's the boot by Brian Spielman. Alan Harvin at the goal line. Right on the 20. Well, let's see what happens here on the offensive line and see if Chuck Comiskey, number 55, replaces Brad Oates, who wears number 70, at the offensive right tackle spot. There he is. 55 is out there, so Brad Oates indeed is on the sideline. Comiskey's not bad. He was the convoy machine for the touchdown for Chuck Fusina. He kind of switches around between right guard and now is the backup at right tackle. According to Don Donaldson, Oates has a slight concussion. There may be too much time. The word there is... Now, Don, you want to just give us an audio report on that? I think I heard him say a concussion.
Yeah, Bill, I just talked to Philadelphia trainer David Price. Brad Oates was knocked woozy at the end of the first half. He has a slight concussion. He is out here on the sidelines. They're going to see how he feels throughout the third period. If he feels better, he might be back for the fourth.
Yeah, that's good news.
That'll be a first in medical science if someone can recover from a concussion in 15 minutes. I'd be surprised if we saw him again if he's been hurt that bad, although he doesn't really look that bad.
His younger brother, Bart, I'll tell you, has really been terrific today. You know, BYU, for years, has had those great passers out there. And the center is snapping the ball 45 times, it seems, a game on an average, and having to pass block. And Bart Oates, the younger brother of Brad, has been doing a good job here today. Second penalty in a row goes up for the Stars, so they're getting off to a shaky start to begin this second half of play.
Yeah, that's too bad because in that play, Bart Oates, I just happened to watch him when you mentioned him. He ran out to block the inside linebacker and just did an excellent job.
And Larry White.
Now they're talking to Chuck Fusina.
You know, there's no statistics to signal out exactly how good the blocking is on an offensive line. The only thing they have really are the game films, but when they look at those game films, they're going to see that Philadelphia team is outstanding in those positions.
Well, that pushes the Stars back to the 10-yard line. In case you joined us late today for this inaugural game between the Philadelphia Stars and the Denver Gold, Philadelphia had a touchdown scored by Chuck Fusina in the first quarter on a 3-yard bootleg run, and then a 50-yard field goal by David Trout on the final play of the second quarter. That's the reason they have a 10-0 lead at this point. But right now, getting off to a rather shaky start because of two successive penalties to begin the third period of play. And as I mentioned, the plan is for the Denver Gold to begin the offensive thrust in this third quarter with Ken Johnson, the backup quarterback, to Jeff Napper. Folsom swings over, number 89. Calvin Bryant at a good hole. He slides off a couple of tacklers and gets up to about the 15-yard line.
On the carry for Philadelphia, number 44, Calvin Bryant.
So that'll bring up a second down and 15 situation for the Stars. Let's pause 5 seconds now to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
KBTV Denver, a station of the Gannett Broadcasting Group.
Second down. Chuck Fusina's gone all the way at quarterback for the Stars. Good defensive penetration by number 91 of the Denver Gold defense. That was Larry White, who really snarled that play up just as the handoff occurred. So give credit to Larry White for a fine defensive effort out of Jackson State.
Yeah, Larry is one of the rookies that Denver did sign. They didn't sign as many rookies as they probably should have to stay competitive.
Third down, 15 yards to go. Ball at the Philadelphia 15.
Big defensive play, and obviously a big offensive play for the Stars, who have converted 3 out of 7 third down conversions so far on their way to a 10-0 lead. Here's Fusino. Couldn't find the right man, so he hits Calvin Bryant at the 20, but it's short of a first down by a good 11 yards. So the Denver Gold will get the ball and listen to the fans once again. Whoop it up for the defense.
44, Calvin Bryant. Brings up a fourth down.
You know, I'm absolutely amazed at the response that Denver has had here. Selling 33,000 season tickets. New Jersey has 30,000. Oakland some 26,000. Tampa 21,000. Washington 19,000. And then Chicago and Arizona 17,000. Of course, New Jersey had about 8,000 in the week following the signing of Herschel Walker. Pretty stiff wind blowing now, although it's not evident. It's blowing right in the face of the putter. Sean Landetta gets a short kick away. He tried to kick it low. Dave Martin wiggles his way across midfield to the 48-yard line. Listen to this crowd as Denver will get its hands on the ball. We thought Johnson would start, but Napple's coming out.
Number 13, David Martin, making the tackle.
I'll tell you this, the happiest guy in the ballpark is Jeff Napple. The word was that Johnson was going to start when they had their first offensive set of plays, but Napple is back in there, 7 out of 15 with 2 interceptions. That, of course, has hurt him. Maybe it's just taking him time to get his arm in shape here today. Golden opportunity now for the Gold. Canada gets a couple. The fullback out of Wisconsin.
No, they started in ideal field position around the 50, between the 40-yard line, just ideal field position. You can do absolutely anything. You can exploit your offense to its fullest. And, of course, they started off with a fullback power play up the middle, which was a little disappointing.
Jeff Narfleet, Harold Narfleet was hurt on the play. So not only has Philadelphia lost its offensive left tackle, Brad Oates, but now the right tackle of Denver, Harold Norfleet, is being helped off the field. Second down and 8. The ball is on the 46-yard line. Denver so far has been shut out by the Philadelphia defense. We're in the third quarter, 12 minutes to go. Philadelphia leading 10-0. Throws with a little more authority this time, and Terry Miller has a first down at the 37-yard line. That's the first time he's really put some steam on the ball, and it got right to the mark.
Yeah, Terry Miller's in the game. He's a specialty player, as we've alerted you. When he's in there, look for passes to him. And look at him. He does put the zip on the ball. And good thing he did, because the coverage was really quite good by the Philadelphia team.
First down on the 36. The wind is starting to gust quite a bit in the stadium, as it often does here in the higher altitude in Colorado in the afternoon. Wind comes off the mountains, and it swirls around, and we do have a swirling wind. Sometimes you can see the pant legs of the Philadelphia Stars coaches on the far side just being swirled around, and it gives you an idea of how the swirl occurs within the stadium. It's a very hard wind to predict and tough on passage.
That Philadelphia team has the greatest respect for the wide receivers. They just drive them back and back.
Absolutely. Now, good.
Second down. Terry Miller. And he gets it just about to the 30-yard line. I think Frank Gifford has a report for us on the other USFL action.
Out in Los Angeles, still, the LA Express making it tough on the New Jersey Generals. Tom Ramsey, the rookie from UCLA, second touchdown pass of the game. He replaced Mike Ray in the second quarter. Herschel Walker on the day. 12 carries, 46 yards. Now back up to Mile High Stadium. Take it away, Bill.
Okay, Frank, very much interesting thing. You mentioned Tom Ramsey. I think many people feel that Tom Ramsey may develop into one of the finest professional quarterbacks of the entire crop. of quarterbacks in college ball of 1982. What a blitz. Number 40 coming through there was...
That's Glenn Howard.
Howard, yeah, the fellow out of Minnesota. 18 yards.
That Glenn is the inside linebacker. Again, not great size, but not bad size. He's 6'2", about 220 pounds. Well, this has got to be tremendously disappointing for the Denver team. They started with the best field position that they had this entire game, and they just came out of this with nothing.
Fourth down, and they have to boot it away as Steve Gortz will be kicking it. Looks like the wind is slightly to his back now as it swirls around at Mile High Stadium. Apparently, Northfleet got poked in the eye. That's the reason he's out of there right now. It looks like he'll be back. That kick will carry into the end zone and out of the field of play. So the Stars will take over the football on their own 20-yard line as once again the Stars defense stops Denver, and Philadelphia continues to lead this USFL game by the score of 10-0 in the third. Denver may be behind on the scoreboard, but in the beauty department, I say they have to rate a 10.
Oh, absolutely. A lovely group. But I don't want to sound too enthusiastic.
They're called the Gold Dust. Appropriately named. 10 minutes, 37 seconds to go in the third. Philadelphia out in front, 10-0. They have the ball on their own 20. Blasting through there is Kelvin Bryant. Gets 5 the hard way. Fairfield once again in on the stop, number 58. Tough player.
Yeah, we saw nothing fancy there. There was just that very fine Philadelphia line, just blasting out man-on-man blocking, with Kelvin Bryant having to pick his hole. He seems to be a good daylight runner. He can find the spot.
Second down, 5. Lucino on the deep pitch to Kelvin Bryant. First penetration made by Bearfield that caused Bryant to have to make his cut, and Larry White brought him down. Let's check in with Don Tolleson. Don, you got it.
One of the things about the Philadelphia Stars, they have already demonstrated a commitment to the community of Philadelphia. Irv Eatman, big number 75, the great offensive lineman you're watching today, created a scholarship fund for the Police Athletic League, UCLA, and his high school as soon as he signed the contract with the Stars. Other players are doing a lot of community work as well, so the Stars have demonstrated they care not only about football, but about Philadelphia. Bill?
Now, further word on that, too, I think a very bright move on the USFL's part is the fact that they will give a $2,500 scholarship to any player who is signed and who has not completed his college education. That's a league rule. So that certainly is a positive step.
Bill, let me say a word about the linebackers on the Denver team. Kyle Whittingham, Drake Gherkin, Put Choate, and John Bearfield are just doing an outstanding job of planting, of stunting, and of blitzing. And they are stopping things before they get started. They have really bottled things up.
With the fourth down. High kick coming down to Dave Martin. The 25-yard line. 2 Stars missing. Oh, there's a great effort by Martin getting 7 yards when he absolutely shouldn't have had any. 2 Stars were down there right on top of him, and he managed to get a few. This is Bill Fleming along with Ron Mix and Don Tolleson back at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. 8:11 to go in the third quarter. It's been all Philadelphia on the scoreboard, but right now Denver has the ball when time resumes on its own 33-yard line. Fantastic crowd here today. I don't think, be exaggerating to say that the 50,000 showed up that they expected. Canada makes the cut and is still at about the 37-yard line. I was mentioning the fact that the league will give $2,500 to every player who is drafted and who signs, whether he makes it or not. I think that's an important thing. But also on the territorial choices, a $1,000 scholarship is awarded to whatever school is represented by that player. In other words, in the territorial choice of Philadelphia, you've got Penn State, North Carolina, Lehigh, Temple, and Delaware. That's a pretty good idea, too, don't you think?
I think it's excellent.
On second down, Napple has the ball tipped. Great catch by Canada. That ball was deflected away from him, and he just stabbed it before it got to the ground at the 45-yard line with George Cooper on his back.
So let's take a look. It's a fake play. It's a play-action play. It's designed to hold the linebackers in, who it's hoped to feel that they'll think it's a run. And Canada goes out and just does a short turnaround and does make an outstanding catch.
First down at the 44-yard line of Denver. The Gold trailing 10-0 here in the third quarter. 6:53 to play. Delayed handoff to Harry Sidney, and it didn't fool anybody. Got maybe a yard on the play as the defense with number 23, Antonio Gibson. Number 23, as I mentioned, the left cornerback, coming up to make the stop.
You know, as I mentioned earlier, the defensive backs of Philadelphia are showing great respect for the wide receivers, Lonnell Fee and Vic James, because of their speed. The defensive backfield of the Philadelphia team does not have great speed. Essentially, you have four safeties back there.
Napple makes the fake, the short throw, and then drills one. It is intercepted by Glenn Howard at the 44-yard line. The official there nodding his head. Yeah, he caught it, he says. With his back to us, it was hard to see whether he still had it when he fell to the ground, but he barely did. So Glenn Howard has made two outstanding plays here today.
I've got a feeling that I might be wrong, but I think that Denver could play catch with Lonnell Fee all day long, with him driving the defensive back and then coming back and catching the short outs and catching the short curls.
Got a player down on the 40-yard line, a player from Denver, and he's sprawled out there. I can't make out who it is. No, it's the quarterback, Jeff Napple, and he gets up and comes over to the sideline, so we'll take time out. Jeff Napple was helped to the sidelines, apparently shaken up after that last pass that was intercepted by Glenn Howard of the Philadelphia Stars. So now, Philadelphia has the ball on its own 43-yard line. We've got 6 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the third quarter, and Philadelphia is out in front, as they have been from the start, 10-0. As Fitzke goes in motion, the ball is thrown over the center. And now Don Tollefson has Glenn Howard.
Thanks, Bill. We're with Glenn Howard, who made the interception. What happened on the play, Glenn?
Well, it looked like a screen from the beginning, so I started to slide out, and then quarterback started to scramble, so I tried to roll back in and just pick up an open man, look where his eyes were. He threw the ball, had a pretty good break on the ball, and thank God I pulled it in.
Where'd you get the good hands? Were you ever a receiver or back or anything, Glenn?
I used to play tight end in high school.
Beautiful. Glenn Howard out of Minnesota for the Philadelphia Stars with a big interception. Back to Bill Fleming.
Okay, Glenn was acquired along with Stuart Anderson of Virginia from Washington for the negotiating rights to Walker Lee of North Carolina and Ronnie Estee of LSU. Penalty on the play. Let's hear what it was.
Offensive holding, number 50 White, first down.
So that forces the Stars back. Seventh penalty for 40 yards, and it is now 1st and 20. 5:53 to go in the third quarter. Philadelphia in front. Kelvin Bryant in motion. Screen to the opposite side. David Riley on the receiving end of it. Well, so far, the story of the game really has been the effectiveness of Chuck Fusina and perhaps what we would call the lack of effectiveness of Jeff Napple.
Yeah, there we see it. 10 out of 20, Jeff Napple, 10 out of 20, only 57 yards. But look at that terrible statistic that really hurts them. 3 interceptions. Chuck Cecina, 15 out of 25, 132 yards. Mostly the short passes that he's been throwing underneath the zone.
Fitzke split off to the left side here. Going over to the far side. And in motion. Overthrown. Intended for Kelvin Bryant. Willie Collier was down there deep on the far sideline. Looked like he might have had a notion.
Before the game, I had a chance to speak to the Phillies coach, Jim Mora, and he told me that to win, 2 things would have to happen. Number 1, the offense would have to control the ball with short passes and with the running of Bryant, because they were concerned about their defense. The second thing, their defense must stop the fullbacks inside. They've done both.
Third down. Third and about 16. And off to Bryant. He's got a little room over there. His cutback, however, shortened off the distance he might have gained as Calvin Turner turned it inside, number 99. So, Philadelphia will have to give up the football, and the Denver Gold will send a couple of safety men deep. Jim Mora looking things over. I mentioned earlier that he only had 10 days from the time he was named. George Perlis was named as the head coach of the Stars back in July of '82, and as you know, he took the head coaching job at Michigan State, and Carl Peterson offered the job to Jim Mora. I think he's done a great job in a short amount of time. What a kick! Goes all the way out of the field of play. That ball was absolutely boomed down there by Sean Landetta of the Stars. The Denver Gold on their own 20 have yet to score today. Well, they're still looking for their first USFL point on the scoreboard. Canada gets the pass and gets 5.
Well, on that play, it would not have worked except for Lionel Phoebe. He came in motion on the inside, started to go out, and then did an up and an in, which cleared the area out for Canada to come out and catch a short pass in the flat.
Ron, aren't you amazed at this crowd here today?
It is. It's just so surprising. The crowd size is surprising, but their enthusiasm is really mind-boggling.
Yeah, and they haven't really had a great deal to cheer about. I can't imagine what will happen if they score.
Well, look, here's what's going to happen.
Harry Sidney grinds out a first down and then 7 more big yards. A total of 12 as Scott Warner brings him down.
Yeah, they were in split back formation, and it was a good trap play. An excellent block by the offensive guard. I'm sorry I missed his name. And good running by Sidney.
So Harry Sidney, running back of the University of Kansas, where he graduated in '81. He attended the training camps of both Seattle and Cincinnati. Hopes to find his niche here with the Denver Gold. First down. Fake handoff. Napple with a good fake. Flips the ball out. And it's covered by Philadelphia. Mike Lush, number 27, got the ball. And on that unfortunate lapse by Jeff Napple, the Stars turn it around and have it deep in Denver territory. And I don't know what happened. He just simply lost control of it.
Yeah, look, the motion went one way. It fooled everybody. And he just has that ball. He's just holding it out there, frankly, instead of having it tucked in. And it just got away from him. The crowd's very unhappy because they saw their team on the way towards the score. They thought that they were really moving. That's too bad. What a terrible thing to happen to the quarterback.
5 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Very costly for the Denver Gold here today. And we'll be back in a moment. I can't imagine what the ski slopes are like in the mountains of the Rockies because of this big snowstorm, but I can tell you one thing, the enthusiasm for football has never been higher here in Denver for the Denver Gold, and their team is trailing 10-0. However, Philadelphia has the ball now on on the Denver 34-yard line with a 1st and 10. Kelvin Bryant on the receiving end. Out of bounds he goes at about the 35-yard line, but choked. Once again, the story today, the turnovers. Denver 5, Philadelphia 1.
The Denver defense is actually playing very well. In fact, the last 3 possessions that the Philadelphia has had have resulted in punts. In fact, now it looks like they're trying to work Bryant out in the open to try to get the ball to him because he's just not getting through the line.
There he goes. Boy, what a head of steam he had when he hit the line. 1st down for Kelvin Bryant at the 20-yard line. That hole opened up and he was through it in an instant. Boy, what blocking. I see Brad Oates is back in there. Number 70, the offensive left tackle.
I think one of the reasons for the success on that play is that the Denver defense is in what's called a flex line position. It means they're sitting back and reacting, and that very strong offensive line just dug in there and blew them away.
We got to get behind the line.
1st down on the 20. Philadelphia leading. We're in the last 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Not much there as Booker Russell, the fullback, gets about 3. Don, do you have a report for us?
We're with Mike Lush out of East Stroudsburg State, the defensive back who fell on the ball. How did you see the play when the ball started rolling?
To be honest with you, I read the keeper and I just got up there as fast as I possibly could. And when the tackle hit his arm, he coughed it up, and I was sick and sore all the way. But unfortunately, I took the wrong 2 feet. But maybe next time, who knows?
After the scrimmage last week, there was some concern about the defense. You guys have really come together today. What's been the key, Mike?
Well, the key is that we've opened up the whole concept of our defense. Before, we were showing so little that we just couldn't do what other teams were willing what could do. So now that we showed our whole package, we're going to be in there all year. Watch.
Okay, Bill, Mike Lush down here.
And here's Fusina rifling one too high, intended for the receiver at the 5-yard line, who was Scott Fitzke.
Interesting thing here is that Philadelphia has now gone to a double tight end position, which is it's often the running position. So they give a false look to the Denver defense.
Hey, one thing I noticed is when you have Irv Eatman at 270 and Brad Oates at 275, you've got some pretty good pass protection there, both of those fellas. And you put that Bart Oates in there at the center, he must go 270, 265. That's the reason that Chuck Fusina has so much protection here today and seems to be able to find his receivers at will. Look at this. Think they aren't holding them out? Fusina heads out of bounds.
Now Irv Eatman really has only played 6 games as an offensive tackle for UCLA, so he is really still learning his trade. He was a defensive tackle. Frankly, he could go both ways, but he is still learning his trade as a pass protector. Now, fortunately for him, there isn't that much experience on the Denver defensive line, so the big size, the upper body strength, the good athletic ability of Eatman is going to see him through while he's learning his trade.
Well, I bet you wish when you were an offensive tackle that you had the rules that you have today with the extension in college football of the arm.
We didn't let that get in our way.
David Trout trying a 29-yard field goal, and it is good. And so the Philadelphia Stars capitalize on that fumble by Jeff Nappel and turn the turnover into a 3-pointer, and Philadelphia now leads 13-0. Be sure to be with us next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern. That'll be 11:30 Mountain Time for ABC's United States Football League. We invite you to check your local listings for the game or games in your particular area.
Now, this game could still turn around.
I think so, too. Got out of it. We have 43 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, and again, there is the snow that was piled up on the sideline from yesterday's 16-inch snowfall. Fortunately, it wasn't as bad as that 3-day blizzard that hit here on Christmas Eve, which just about put a stranglehold on the entire area around Denver. But it is beautiful, and the trees were just simply flocked with snow early this morning. Unfortunately, our spotter normally, Bill Friel, was stranded and could not get in, and we're getting some great help today from Al King here in Denver. And our thanks to Joe Cox for supplying the statistics for us. So we have 43 seconds to go in the third quarter. Young ladies now have put on their jackets. Thank heaven. Not that warm. They're out with bare shoulders here a short time ago.
Aren't you glad they don't have sweatpants?
Yeah. Howard Ballage, deep, number 80 for the Denver Gold at the 4. And David Trout gets a good high kick to Ballage. Oh, he bangs heads at the 20-yard line with a defender. Oh, there was some collision right there. Jeff Rodenberger, number 34 of the Philadelphia Stars. Wow.
Often we talk about how the teams match up offensively and defensively, but the special teams, too, play an important role. They've just been excellent today.
The reason you heard that booing there, because I think the fans had been thinking Ken Johnson. We had heard that Johnson was going to start the third quarter. Napple, however, is still in there. It'll be a tough time to take him out, especially after that mishap of fumbling the ball right out in the open as he hits Lonnell Feed. And he gets about 5.
Well, I think they could be doing this all day. Watch, the defense is really very far back. In fact, he could have driven the defensive back even further and gotten a larger gain. If they start playing catch with their wide receivers, I think we can see this game turn around.
Second down, 5 yards to go.
Lonnell Feed, of course, was an outstanding player at the University of Houston under Bill Yeoman. Second down, 5. Glenn Ford carries for the first time today and gets the first down. Carries it up over the 35-yard line. There's a name we have not mentioned at all this afternoon. Glenn Ford was a number 9 draft choice out of Lenore Ryan College. First down for the Gold. And that is the end of the third quarter of play. So we have 15 minutes to go, and the Denver Gold are trailing by 13 points, but they seem to have some momentum. This is Bill Fleming along with Ron Mix and Don Tollefson back at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. A most enthusiastic crowd here today in this inaugural game of the United States Football League here in Denver. Napple throws over the middle. It is almost intercepted and dropped by Glenn Howard. And again, the crowd is really on Napple as we take a look at how things have gone through 45 minutes of play.
Now, you can see by the statistics that the Denver defense has really played very well. 234 yards total offense for Philadelphia is really not that impressive, although the team has looked good. But Denver could turn this game around if they get some offense going.
And 5 turnovers by Denver is the thing that is ruinous. Napple over the middle, it is intercepted. John Brooks, number 98, carries the ball to the 28-yard line. And I'll tell you, if we don't see Ken Johnson in on the next sequence, Brian, this crowd is really going to be mutinous.
Yeah, the stadium may empty. Now look, you can see the safety coming up on a blitz, and they get a lot of pressure. But the ball simply should not have been thrown. Should have taken his loss if he thought he was going to be hit.
So John Brooks comes up with the 6th turnover, the 4th interception. Kelvin Bryant shrugs off that one sharp hit by Bearfield, who was really moving. Bearfield, number 58, was coming through there like the Midnight Express. Almost stripped the ball away, but Kelvin Bryant has had a lot of good shots during his college career where people have tried to strip it away. Got good, strong hands.
Philadelphia, again, have gone into the double tight end offense. So they may just intend to just keep digging away and slowly put it in the end zone.
There's John Brooks, number 98, who made that interception for the Philadelphia Stars. John is out of Clemson. Played on a national championship team. Just wasn't there as Bearfield closed it up. Or is that number 50? I believe it was number 50 instead of 58. That would be Greg Gherkin. Good stop. Well, it brings up a third down. Don, do you have a word for us?
We're with John Brooks who had the interception. What happened on the play? What kind of a defense were you guys in?
Well, we had a weak safety blitz on, and I had my back man-to-man. You know, he came out, tapped him in.
I don't think it is.
Inside route on me. And I think the middle linebacker got in front of the quarterback, kind of burdened his vision.
Okay.
He tried to get it to him. I was in the right spot at the right time.
John Brooks with the interception.
Third down and 4. Fusina getting some heat. Goes out of bounds. Great defensive play. They just would not let him throw the ball. As Gherkin, once again, number 50, comes up with a key stop. And that was at about a 9-yard loss.
I'll tell you, absolutely nothing is fooling that Philadelphia defense. They're sending in blitz. Philadelphia is doing all kinds of motions, all kinds of shifts, but nothing is fooling the Philadelphia defense. They're very aggressive, and they're playing very well.
Denver defense.
Denver.
David Trout has got in the lineup now to try a 47-yard field goal. He already has one of 50 yards and one of 29. Ball gets loose from Jim Crown. The defense is going to get the ball for the offense, and the Denver goal will have it on the 46-yard line. And let's see if Johnson will come into the lineup. Ricky Harr, number 27, was the one who came through there when the ball got loose. He had 43 and he's wearing 49. Kenny King throws to the sidelines. It is caught. Completed the 20-yard line. What a catch. Victor James gives Denver a first down.
On these long passes, it's not so much whether the quarterback is good in his timing. And the long passes, it's mostly the receiver. It's how he adjusts to the ball. And Vic James did an outstanding job that time. Here we get another shot at it. He had to work his way through some bump and run, and then get behind the defensive back.
Well, I don't know how that ball ever got through there, but it did. First down on the 20. The Stars leading 13-0, but Denver's threatening here in the fourth quarter with 9:23 to go. Good fake by Johnson. Drills it in there. Bob Mazzola gets the ball to the 3-yard line. Listen to this crowd. They are absolutely frantic.
Johnson. He faked it, he rolls out, just stopped, and he hits Nizolik, who had delayed and then came across underneath the zone. And look at him, he won't go down. Well, a forearm to the jaw sent him down.
Yes, so. What a shot he took. First and goal to go. That was Roger Jackson, by the way, who came up there, number 24, and buttoned him down. Nope. Bo Matthews forced out of bounds at the 1.5-yard line. Good defensive play by Glenn Howard.
Here we got the defensive line of Philadelphia just surging in there and shutting everything off, and the linebacker forcing everything wide, and that's what they want to do, and the linebackers came up and supported.
Yard and a half short. Kenny Johnson looks to the sidelines. He's got a second down coming up. Well, this will be an historic score if it does happen. The first time that Denver has scored in the United States Football League, but they've got those formidable men ahead of them with the white shirts on who are determined to stop them. And time here's called as Johnson wants to come over to the sideline and talk to Red Miller and find out what is the best strategy at this point. So when we return, Denver will have 3 shots to go about 36 inches. Arenas has gone in on defense, number 38 for Howard, Glenn Howard. I said 36 inches. Let's just cut that in half. It's more like 18 inches. Johnson looking things over. Like he's diagramming on the ground. Well, here they come. Kenny Johnson calling for quiet. Long count. Inside it goes. It's going to be short. Larry Canada, number 35. Inching his way closer to the goal line. Official timeout.
When you get to the goal line, the defense brings in their extra linemen to stop the short touchdown thrust. The offense counters with horses of their own. They bring in their tight end and their big back, but they haven't been able to get over yet.
Well, they need somebody like Billy Sims or a Walker, the guys that like to fly. Just take off and dive over. Sometimes that's the only way to do it. Third down. Less than a yard. Larry Canada gets it close. Everybody's signaling except the right man. And we're waiting for him. It can't be more than inches. That's it. 3 inches from the goal line, and it'll be 4th down. Glenn Howard, who had just gone in prior to that play, made the stop. And so with 3 inches to go and 4th down, the Denver goal with exactly 7 minutes to go in the ball game are trailing 13-0, and Red Miller is grim. He's got the worst seat in the house for this place. Johnson just needs to take it in himself. Got a lot of experience at that spot. Oh. Now he is going to swing wide. He's going to score. Good call. Has become an instant hero here in the eyes of the Denver Gold fans. With 4th down and 3 inches to go, instead of doing the quarterback sneak, which frankly I thought he might do, he pulled the old bootleg, and he didn't fool everybody, but the one man that he didn't fool couldn't hold him.
Yeah, Denver came in, by the way, and they brought in Bo Matthews also, along with Larry Canada. They put Bo at the wing back position to provide an extra blocker.
And Brian Spielman gives Denver its 7th point. So with 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the ball game, the Denver Gold has finally gotten up on the scoreboard. And it's 13-7, and Philadelphia will get the ball. And there's the man who did it, Kenny Johnson, who had to wait a long time for his shot today. He had to wait through 4 interceptions by Naples to get in the lineup.
Here we get to see Kenny do it again. He faked to the motion man, and you're right, he did not fool everybody, but he fooled 10 of the 11 players. He got in.
Pretty good. That was Antonio Gibson, who almost got it. What's he out of Cincinnati?
They pulled the guard out there to escort him, and he really didn't have to do anything except cheerlead.
So Kenny Johnson, formerly from the University of Colorado, where he played 71, 72, and 73, then spent his pro career in Canada, has has come in as the backup quarterback and has taken the team down the field. The fact that he scored the touchdown obviously was icing on the cake, but how he got him there was really important.
He took them down with passes, and that's what the Denver crowd wanted to see. The football fan of today is spoiled. He wants to see a lot of action. He wants to see the ball in the air.
And here is the boot. Alan Harvin is deep. It's going to be a short kick. Taken by the short man. David Riley gets it up to about the 24-yard line. Don Tollefson, I think, has a report on that call. Don? What? Oh, I guess the word is that was a called play by Red Miller and his staff from the sideline. That bootleg for Johnson. Well done. Well called, well executed. Marker down on this kickoff, and it's a holding call against the Stars. So that'll shove them back. So Philadelphia scoring first on a 3-yard scamper by Chuck Fusina in the first quarter, then getting 3 more points with a 50-yard field goal at the end of the first half in the final play, getting 3 more points with a 29-yard field goal, extending the lead to 13-0. And now here in the fourth quarter, with 6.5 minutes to go, the Denver Gold moved down under a new quarterback, Ken Johnson, who bootlegged it in. I hate to say it, but from the 3-inch line. It doesn't sound like much of a spectacular play, but I'll tell you this, Ron, seldom will you find a play that had more drama.
Or more reaction from the crowd.
Yusina, who's gone all the way at quarterback for the Stars, takes the handoff. Being Dorff on the far side. Pretty close to that first down mark. Gerken has played very well. He's number 50 who forced that play out of bounds. Let's pause 5 seconds now to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
KBTV Denver, a station of the Gannett Broadcasting Group.
That last touchdown drive was 54 yards in 9 plays. You see it. That's the team at the 30-yard line. Philadelphia still out in front, 13-7 in the fourth quarter, 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go. You see the hands to Calvin Bryant, nothing there. Boy, an avalanche with Denver Gold forces him back. Number 60 there for Denver is George Atia, who makes the stop. Ooh, is he strong.
George Atia was the heavyweight wrestling champion in the Southeast Conference and was named Wrestler of the Year. He's perfectly suited for that nose tackle position. Of course, he had a lot of help, too, from those backers, a very nasty group.
Yeah, Gerken helped a lot on that play, too. Now we have a second down. Calvin Bryant is hit, incomplete. David Martin making the stop on him and forcing that ball out so they couldn't call it a completion. Well, the Denver defense has been ferocious here trying to get the ball back. David Martin out of Villanova played extremely well today. We have a third down, and I'm going to call it a long 8. Philadelphia with the ball on the 32-yard line. They've never been headed in this contest, but in this fourth quarter, the Denver Gold has gotten some momentum by changing quarterbacks to Kenny Johnson from Jeff Napple, the starter, moving down 54 yards. And now time is called as Chuck Fusina wants to go over to the sideline to talk to Jim Mora, the head coach, about what to do in this 3rd and 8 situation. We have 5 minutes, 17 seconds to go in the ball game, and it's a humdinger. Don't leave it. Philadelphia's up in front by 6. Philadelphia now with two tight ends. Timeouts become an important factor here as we are closing in on the final 5 minutes of the ball game. Philadelphia is out in front, 13-7, and with 3rd and 9, you have to know that this is a big one. Tom Donovan, number 87 in the slot. Pitsky is outside him, and Cucina is back to pass. Marker thrown. It could be offensive holding. Cucina's out of bounds. Usually, Ron Mix, when you see that yellow marker interiorly, you know that it's the offensive line that's grabbing jerseys or something.
Yeah, there's something a little more interesting there that happened on the sideline. It looked like a fight between Eatman and guess who? A Denver Gold coach.
Well, I saw a melee there, but I didn't know that there was actually any squabble. Looked like it's a holding, and it's going to be, well, let's point one way or the other, fellas. It is a holding penalty against Philadelphia.
Now, that's the first holding penalty in the game by the offensive line.
Good point.
A very disciplined set of people.
With the ball run out of bounds at about the 36-yard line, Denver says, we don't want the penalty, we want the play. It'll be 4th down, and Dave Martin is back. Landetta will do the kicking. Oh, he had a 56-yarder today. That certainly beats up his average. John Landetta. There they come. And it's a short kick. Martin comes up to the 30 and gets to the 35-yard line. He fumbled the ball, but it's covered by Denver. Now the question is, was his knee down at the 35? Was it blown dead? Yes. So it wouldn't have made any difference. Well, here we are with 4 minutes and 58 seconds to go. And when we come back, Denver will have the ball on its own 36-yard line, trailing by 6. Next Sunday on ABC's coverage of United States Football League football, we'll be covering the New Jersey against Philadelphia game beginning at 1:30 Eastern, 11:30 Mountain Time. And a decision will be made tomorrow as to whether that game will be carried on a national basis or whether there will be regional games. We definitely know that we will see the Generals and the Stars in action against each other as Philadelphia returns home for their home opener in Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Well, the Philadelphia fans should be proud of their Stars. They've shown well in this game. And if they can hang on to this lead for another 4 minutes and 58 seconds, they'll chalk up their first victory. So we're ready to go. Ken Johnson, now the quarterback, scored the only touchdown for Denver on that bootleg sweep in this 4th quarter. LP is up to the left. Keep your eye on him because he is the one dangerous breakaway threat. He's the burner. The throw to Fee. Screen a little bit too tight to the sideline for them to do much maneuvering. And it gains only about 2 or 3 yards. Sam Mills has played well today. Ron, a lot of these defenders have been outstanding for Philadelphia, but he in particular stands out in my mind, number 54.
Yeah, he's the inside linebacker along with Glenn Howard. They have been very active.
Second down, about 7. The ball on the 39 of Denver, trailing 13-7 here. 4:53 to play in the game. Throws it short. That's Bo Matthews. And Matthews is short of the first down at the 43-yard line. He has to go to the 46. That'll bring up 3rd. Again, that defense is strong by Mills.
He just got the ball off. You can see there's a blitzer coming in, and just lofted it out there to Bo, and Bo squares his shoulders and tries to go forward, but two people stop him. Bo, by the way, is a good pass receiver. They like the pass receiving abilities of both of their fullbacks.
Canada and Matthews are a pretty good pair of power runners, too. Here's a 3rd and 2 on the 44 at Denver. Johnson has plenty of time. Now he decides to sprint it out and try to pick up the first down. He's got the first down at the 48-yard line when he runs out of bounds. Well, you just can't beat that old savvy. Knowing where you can go and whether you can make it or not. It was a gamble. Player down here is a Philadelphia Star at the 48.
Yeah, they had good design. I think they expected Philadelphia to expect them to run, and so they did play action into the middle. Kenny came back to pass, had a lot of time, but there was just excellent coverage on Philadelphia's part.
Dave Ofer, number 94 of the Star defense, the nose tackle out of Penn State, is down here. It's just a cramp in the calf. Last 5 possessions, now 4 of those, Ron, they had a punt and so forth and so on. That was under Jeff Napple. Then with Johnson in there, look what happened.
Yes, those are pretty damning statistics, but I know that Denver likes Napple, and I don't think they're going to lose faith in him because of today's performance.
By the way, is 13 out of 22 attempts, 68 yards and 4 interceptions during the brief period of time that Johnson played and is playing. 4 out of 5 for 47 yards. First down on the 48-yard line. 3:46 to play. Denver trailing by 6. Incomplete. Roger Jackson looked at the official who must say, "Ooh, didn't touch him." It's tough for a rookie. You don't know how far they're going to let you go. They say that the officiating in professional football is a little more lenient than in the college. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, it's much more. I'd mentioned no harm, no foul, and I think that's one of their philosophies.
Well, that's the up-to-date stats that we just gave you a moment ago. That's the amount of time remaining. From Mile High Stadium, it's been an exciting afternoon for these fans who've turned out, particularly in the fourth quarter, when Denver's come to life. Trailing those still 13-7. Here's the blitz. And Johnson just barely did it away, get it away as Scott Werner came roaring through there. Watch him from the left side. No, the right side of your
Philadelphia has been blitzing every play, trying to put pressure on the passer. Threw across field, a tough throw to make. Just didn't get anywhere with it. You know, it's interesting, but they've had Kenny Johnson throwing on first down, and that's the first time that's happened this game. It's happened in the last 2 series.
Well, they're fighting that old clock. Just under 3 minutes now. Third down. About 8. Deep pitch. Harry Sidney gets the first down. He could go. He is stopped at the 27-yard line. Harry Sidney went roaring through that line, and it looked like if he had cut to the right, he might have made it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. The offensive line pulled. In fact, the right tackle pulled and led that play. So he has good speed.
That was Scott Werner, by the way, who saved the touchdown, number 17. How many times he did that for the Dogs at Georgia? Here we go with a first down situation. 2 minutes to go, and there is the automatic warning by the officials. So, with exactly 2 minutes showing on the clock, Kenny Johnson will come to the sideline. He has his team on the 27-yard line of Philadelphia and is trailing by 6. A lot of drama yet to unfold. The Capitol building there is certainly significant of what is going on here as the Denver Gold have found themselves offensively here in the fourth quarter under Kenny Johnson. They also find themselves against a star defense 27 yards away from the Philadelphia goal line. I don't know, what would you do, Ron, at this situation if you are Red Miller?
Well, I think now they're down into a very dangerous position. They can do a lot. They can throw into the end zone, of course, and not worry about an interception if they overthrow it. But they should probably keep doing what they've been doing, which is to say they run and try to throw underneath the zone.
I don't know how they can hear the signals. The crowd is so noisy here. Over the middle, incomplete. Just a little bit off the fingertips of Howard Ballage. Ballage, of course, played his college ball at Colorado, too.
Kenny Johnson's been finding himself under a lot of pressure. They've been getting a good pass rush on him and good blitzing. The timing was almost there. Those short passes, it's all a matter of timing.
Second down and 10 on the 27. Denver trailing with 1:55 to go. It's a 13-7 game. Johnson got his ball at the 9-yard line. Dick James comes up with another spectacular catch.
Now, Kenny Johnson gets excellent protection here, and there is a lot of blitzing. The backs help him out. He throws it hard right into the seam. A good catch, good concentration by James. Here we get a chance to see it again. Now watch Larry Canada. Look at him hammer that linebacker. Head up, lets him have it. Again, right into the middle. Good catch. He was thrown a little behind him.
Oh, it was a great catch because he had to be way off balance when he caught it in midair, literally. First down is just inside the 10, so it's first and goal to go. There's an opening as Sidney slides through to the 6. Harry Sidney, who put him in good shape with a fine 20-yard sprint just a few minutes ago, takes him to the 5.
I'll tell you what helped take him there. Larry Canada made an excellent block on a very tough linebacker, Glenn Howard. He knocked him down, opened the hole, and Sidney, very quick and a good daylight runner, found it. Now they're down to the 5.
Oh, yeah, a lot of things resting on that defense of Philadelphia. The Stars carved out a 13-0 lead, and they don't want to see it dwindle.
Here we get a chance to see Larry Canada. Boom. Well, knocks down number 17. I had him on somebody else, but he did knock him down.
And that's a job to knock down Scott Werner. So, the conference going on the sideline with a minute and 2 seconds to go. The Denver Gold trailing here by 6, and 4 white-shirted Warriors from Philadelphia come in to bolster the defense. Howard goes out. Also getting a rest there, John Brooks. Kenny Johnson checking in. They got defensively, they got Scott Werner, Antonio Gibson, and Mike Lush there on the goal line. Then we've got Sam Mills, Frank Case, Vince DeMarinis up there poised for this charge of the Denver Gold. Bo Matthews, number 41, checks in. Both Matthews and Canada are in the lineup. Harry Sidney is the tandem back. Canada gets to the 3-yard line. And that will move the clock. It ticks away, 54, 53, and finally they stop it. Right on the 3-yard line. Wow. Vic James reports in. Bo Matthews comes out. Vic James and Donnelly taking the play in from the sideline. The clock moving now, 48 seconds and ticking. A dramatic moment in the new life of the Denver Gold. And a few hearts are beating faster in Philadelphia. Hand off to Sidney. What a great defensive play. It looked like Sidney had the opening, and it closed on him. And who is the man down underneath there? Number 95 was Case. Let's look for him.
Look at the good surge by the line. The hole opens up just for a split second, then boom, the door was shut.
And so we have a fourth down coming up. It'll be intense.
Kenny Johnson can pull this out. He will be the first Denver player to have a fan club, I guess.
Well, the ball is resting, as close as we can tell, about on the 2.5-yard line. 4th and goal to go. We have 22 seconds to play. And that Philadelphia defense is really being called on early in the season. Here comes some fresh ones in. Here's Glenn Howard coming back in.
You know, teams open up more and more. They're wide open when they get to the goal line. I don't know what can happen, but certainly a pass cannot be ruled out.
Well, we'll know in a moment. We're down to the final 22 seconds and a fourth down. Handoff. The ball is dropped. It is incomplete. The pass from Kenny Johnson to Larry Canada could not be held. And there's a Philadelphia player who was a defender lying down outside the field of play, stretched out. Antonio Gibson is lying there. He came into the game suffering some problem with his back this last week. And now Kenny Johnson comes over to talk to Red Miller. Well, what can you say? It was a well-thrown pass. He just couldn't hang on to it. Ron?
So here we go. He fakes the motion in the line, the play pass. He just flips it out there. Didn't have much time. I can't blame Larry Canada. That would have been a great catch if he had made it. I think Larry would have had to have been a few inches taller.
Well, it looks like Glenn Howard was the one who caused the problem for Antonio Gibson. He fell right on top of him. Well, you really have to give credit to this Philadelphia Star defense. What a tremendous effort they have made. And now the fans, in their frustration, are starting to belt the field with snowballs. Time runs out, and the ball game is officially over, but it couldn't have wound up in any more dramatic fashion. Fourth down, last play of the ball game, and here comes Jim Mora over to the sidelines to shake hands with Red Miller, the head coach of the Denver Gold. Well, after all, there are still 17 more regular season games to come.